Good morning. I've had a lot of requests on this topic and decided to just go ahead and record a video about how to get started in real estate in Louisiana in 2024. Becoming a real estate agent or a realtor is actually pretty simple. Um, Simple, not necessarily easy, but it is simple. And I'm just going to go through the steps and I guess talk a little bit about my journey and how I got started in real estate and possibly some pitfalls that you might want to be aware of, especially in 2024. But this is just a breakdown of how to get started, talking about, what classes to go to and all that fun stuff. So here we go. And I am specifically focusing on Louisiana because that's where I am and because I have all that information at my fingertips. And then also a little bit about the local board and what that entails. And if you don't know what any of that means, definitely get on a phone call with me. I always leave links in my bio or in the description so that you can get in contact with me and we can have a discussion about what you're trying to accomplish. So here we go. Okay. Step number one, whenever you are starting or want to get started in real estate, is to go to real estate school. The first course is a 90-hour course. You can take it in person, you can take it online. It really doesn't matter, just as long as you get it done and you take the final exam and pass. So I put a few different options here that are available locally and online. So even if you were doing something from another state, you could probably still take some of these online courses. But Donaldson Education Services is a local one that you can do in person and online, kind of a hybrid, and it's $4.95. Bob Brooks, there's an in-person 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, or a 4-week that's 6 p.m. to 9:30 for those of us that work during the day. And both of those courses are $645. If you want to do it solely online, it's $299. And then proeducate.com is between $149 and $189, depending on how long you want access for. And so I'll just give you my take on how I feel about these. I love Donaldson Education. Most of the teachers are very well versed and or hilarious, which helps keep things interesting, right? So being hybrid, I feel like is a good thing because you will at least you may be able to do some of the course material online, but you'll also be able to be in person to ask them questions in the event that you have questions that might not be able to be answered online. Bob Brooks being in person full time. I did do my first one in person. Of course, that was 15 years ago. So the online option probably wasn't even an option at that time, but being in person, I think helped me personally for two reasons. One, because I was able to ask questions real time and have an understanding real time. But then also to get it done, because when you do it online, it's a lot longer, and to me it's actually longer than 90 hours, partially because it's it can actually be longer than 20 hours, 90 hours, depending on how long or how slow you are, So I did do my broker's license online, and I will tell you that I believe I went ahead and went for the 90-day access. I probably should have just went for the 30. That way I would have forced myself to get it done quickly and been able to absorb all the information. Either way, I did mine in person first on the first go round, and I passed the first time around. The national was significantly easier than the Louisiana test, I think partially because we have Napoleonic law. It's a little bit different. Sorry. But anyway, I think pretty much everybody that takes the Louisiana exam ends up just barely passing it just because the laws are so interesting. But as long as you pass, that's all you need. It doesn't really matter, a pass is a pass, what they say about doctors who pass, and with a B, and doctors who pass with an A, they're both doctors, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so, and then another tip that I always give everyone is a website called nightbeforetheexam.com. It's $69.95 a month, and it is perfect for making sure that you pass the test, because if you pass the test online on the night before the exam, it's kind of like a fake test, but it does have actual tests or similar test questions that you would see on the exam. Then you're guaranteed to also pass in person. And I think they even offer a refund if you don't. So there you have it. So it to me, it's not a waste of money, but it is definitely worth it if you're concerned about not passing. I felt pretty confident after taking my final exam, but I do think that the quicker you go through it all, the more information you absorb, the less you forget. So I would just do it as quickly as you can, if possible. And if you only can afford to do it online, well, that's okay too. Okay, salesperson part A application is the second part. So once you've taken your class and you've passed the final exam, then you're going to fill out this form with the LREC. Most of everything now can be done online. And LREC stands for Louisiana Real Estate Commission, for those who don't know what that means. But it's a 6-part application, and you just fill everything off, fill everything out. If they allow you to do it online, cool. If not, then you can mail it, like overnight it, or certify mail it, or drop it off in person in Baton Rouge. It's a really easy option as well, but you'll also have to have like a check or a money order rather made out for $90 when you get there. And that's just the first portion so that you can actually take the test. Then once you do that, once it's processed, that part of the application is processed, you'll get an email from Pearson VUE to schedule your testing. And that test is $78. The test is 135 questions and it's 240 minutes long. I don't even think that they're clear on what 70 means. I don't know if it's 70%, if it's 70 questions, like I don't even really know. I would imagine it's at least a 70%, but they don't really describe what that is. But you will know right away at the end if you passed or if you didn't. Like it'll pop up and tell you if you passed or if you didn't. And if you fail the test, you got to reapply again. So it takes a little bit to go through that process again. But the test is $78, not super expensive in 2024. Then they do a background check. I don't think 15 years ago that they required me to do a background check, although maybe they should have. I'm just kidding. But this will be the next step in the process. I'm pretty sure that when you complete the test, like once you pass the test, that they're going to send this to you, or you'll get the information via email. But there will be a lot of communication via email from the Louisiana Real Estate Commission about all these steps in the processes in the process. So you won't necessarily have to rely on this, but there is, if you go online to the Louisiana Real Estate Commission, there is a checklist for people that are interested in getting started in real estate, and it outlines exactly what you have to do, and it has the link to everything that you need. So if you have any questions about that, definitely go to the Louisiana Real Estate Commission website and just find the section for new agents. And there is a checklist with links that is wonderful, and it'll definitely help you. Then number 5, the next thing that you have to do is you have to choose a brokerage. So before you can complete the final step in your application process, they have to know that your license is going to be held with a broker, because when you first start real estate, at least for the first, I believe, 4 or 5 years, don't know what the length of time is now before you can become a broker, but you will definitely have to be with a brokerage. And of course you want to be, because at that stage in the game, you kind of don't know a whole heck of a lot about real estate. So it's really important to choose an amazing brokerage. I personally work with Real Broker, and I will describe what that's like on another video. But if it's something that you'd be interested in, definitely look for my other videos, or even schedule a 15-minute call with me, and I can kind of go over all of that information with you and why I think it's such a valuable company. And of course, we love to have amazing people with great culture. So this is the next step that you will need that brokerage for. You'll need to have a thumbs up from a broker. So when you, I guess to go back one, when you're choosing a brokerage, by the way, I should probably do a whole other video on questions that you should ask another brokerage. And so I will put that on my list to do, because when you're choosing a brokerage, typically it is you interviewing them less than them interviewing you. I mean, it's definitely both ways, because, and there are some boutique brokerages that will have say a minimum amount of sales that they would want you to have under your belt before you would come on to that brokerage, just to make sure that it's a good fit for them. But there are a lot of brokerages that also embrace new agents that don't have a whole lot of experience, and they are willing to help, and they're willing to guide and have tons of education For instance, with Real Broker, we do have a whole new agent series, and everything is online. So if you're working at a full-time job and trying to make a transition, as a for instance, then you could definitely do a lot of those courses online at night, on the weekends, at your lunch break, whatever. But you can definitely do those courses at your leisure, and you have people that are on your side wanting to help you. You just have to make sure that you reach out and let people know you need help. So back to the application part B. So number 6 is that part, that piece of the puzzle, and apparently I did not do a good job of putting a picture of that right there, and so I just have a blank photo. So there's little dose of reality of my life. So yeah, I'm not perfect. Anyway, so you will have to have that whoever your sponsoring broker is, whoever has agreed to sponsor you. And then you're also going to want E&O insurance. So that is on that application. The reason why I put Real Broker on here too is to remind me that if you choose to go with Real Broker, if Real Broker is willing to sponsor you, then we already have coverage for E&O insurance. So you don't necessarily have to pay for E&O insurance through the real estate commission. So this part of the application could hypothetically be free if you didn't want to use the real estate commission's insurance. I personally this year chose to use both. So I have a Real Brokers policy, and I also have the policy through the Louisiana Real Estate Commission just for extra coverage. But that's me. There's no reason to do that necessarily. I just like to have that extra coverage, and it's not super expensive to have both, so why not? Okay, so that basically is, in terms of becoming a real estate agent, becoming a licensed real estate agent, is everything that you have to do. That's it, like in terms of getting your license. Now, beyond that point, there is a lot more to do, but just the licensing part, that is done. The next step, once you have your license, is in order to actually get active in real estate, you're going to have to go to your local board. And there in Louisiana, there's several boards. I know there's one in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lake Charles, Alexandria. Our local board is the Real Estate Association of Acadiana, because I'm in Lafayette. And I have the breakdown of the dues and all of the stuff that you will need for them as well, just so that you can see that part too. But it doesn't necessarily have to do with the licensing portion with the Louisiana Real Estate Commission. This is once you've done that portion for your license, then you'll go to the local board where you're located, and you're going to get this information from them. You'll fill out applications with them to officially become a realtor, and have access to the MLS and have access to the super keys and stuff that we need in order to get into a lot of the houses. So this is the breakdown of the dues for our local association. And so this is what they're billing every, let's see, so all these are billed annually. All this one chunk, I think it's just over $1,000, is billed annually in October. And it covers everything. It covers the National Association of Realtors, the Louisiana Association of Realtors, and our local board, and also a voluntary donation to LARPAC, which is they are I guess they're also, they help us with legal issues. So they go and they speak for us, but that is, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. That's voluntary. You don't have to pay the $35. You can remove it if you want. And then there is a semi-annual fee paid for the MLS on in June and December. So you're paying $276 and $276 in June and December to have access to all the houses on the MLS. There is one thing that they don't have here, and that is your super key access. That I believe is $16.99 a month, and there's probably like a one-time $50 setup fee that they did not include here. So just to give you some kind of an idea of what, there's probably going to be like another $1,000, another to $1,200 of fees that are due once you get your licensing done. So in order to get access to MLS, super keys, et cetera, and to be a part of the National Association of Realtors, become an actual realtor versus just a licensed real estate agent. So there's definitely a difference there. So that being said, I will say that becoming a real estate agent is not what a lot of people think. Some people have a pretty good grasp that it is starting your own business. And so, in starting your own business, you can expect to have some upfront expenses. You can expect to have some startup. It is just like any other business. It really is. You can't expect that you're going to get a paycheck the first month. You really need to prepare to have a very slow first year, or well, I shouldn't say prepare because I don't want people to think, oh, it's going to be slow and then they're slow because they think it's going to be slow. It's just you need to be mindful that it can take some time to get started. I have seen people make $100,000 in the first year because they hustled and because they wanted to get, what they needed to get out of this business. But it is a business. It does require marketing. It does require reaching out to people. It does require a hustle. There's no set schedule. There's no clients that are automatically coming to you. You have to go and find them. So you may not expect to close a deal for the first 90 days. And so I feel like it's really important that people understand that they have a backup plan, or some savings, or maybe even a spouse that works and is on the same page with a startup period before the income really starts to flow in. And it does take time to really build your clientele and stuff like that. So I don't want people to have a perception that it's going to be easy and quick and right away unless you're really willing to put in the work and hustle. Now, on the flip side of that, if you work with a team when you first start, if it's not feasible for you to not make money quickly, or if you don't have a spouse that can help, then I would also consider, aside from working with a broker, also consider being a part of a team, because the team is already set up with, typically with some kind of lead gen or lead generation sources so that you can get clients fairly quickly. They're also willing to coach you right away and to help you really get started and make sure that you're making money as quickly as possible. Sometimes they do just give you leads if they have leads available to give you. It just depends on the team. So I can kind of talk about that in another series of videos. But I do think it's important that you understand that when you work for a real estate broker, or just a real estate company, whether that's Real Broker, Keller Williams, EXP, doesn't matter. You don't necessarily expect to get leads unless their company is somehow structured that way, which is very rare. But if you're able to join a team, then a lot of times they'll have access to leads, or they can help you set up a lead generation source or something like that to help you out. And so I just want you to understand the difference. I am a team leader on the Premier team in the state of Louisiana. And the reason why I chose to do that was so that I could help newer agents and help them, just with some coaching and some guidance and, some push, some drive, whatever they need to get going. And I'm very proud to say that, one of my most recent agents is doing incredibly well and has a couple houses under contract, and it didn't take her terribly long to really get rolling. But sometimes it is just a mindset shift that people need. So to summarize really quickly again, so just the real estate license part with the LREC, with the state, you're gonna do your real estate school, and that can cost anywhere from 150 to 500. Then you're going to do your salesperson part A application. Remember, all of this is on the Louisiana Real Estate Commission site, and I'll put the link in the description. That part is $90. And then the state and federal licensing exam is going to be $78 that you have to pass. You're going to do a background check that's going to be $61. You need to choose a sponsoring broker that is willing to sponsor you. Definitely schedule an appointment with me if you need more help with that decision. And then number 6, the salesperson part B application, which the prorated, that's the reason why I have it 19 to 150, is because it's about your E&O, errors and emissions insurance, being prorated if you choose to pay for the one that the LREC offers. And so that total can be anywhere from $398 to $879, depending on the type of the school you choose and insurance you choose, et cetera, et cetera. And that is prior to getting with your local board and paying the dues with the local board that are required in your area. And that, my friends, is everything. If you think of anything else, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments so I can answer them or make you another magical video. Let me know how I can help. Definitely schedule a call if you need some help. Don't just sit there and do nothing. I'd be glad to have a little conversation with you. I am more than happy to be of assistance helping you get started in this crazy career. And yes, 2024 is a little bit nuts with elections and with, all the new NAR settlement rules and everything like that. But I will say that I started at a time that was rough too, and it was in 2009 after the crash. And I think that starting at a time that was difficult actually made me a little bit tougher and smarter and more creative in the way that I did business. And ultimately, I think it did help me be more successful because I had to figure it out. I had to hustle. I had to be super creative, and also I had some great mentors at the time that were willing to help me get started. So I hope that helps. Have an amazing week. We'll see you on the next one.